What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Bustin' Balls. I'm your host, Eric Pennell. I would like to start off the show. I do apologize for the last podcast. My 200th episode, you think I would have came more federal with it, you know what I'm saying? But I had some audio problems that a lot of podcasts I'll listen to after I record it, and then sometimes I go, nah, it's all good. Let me just clean it up, blah, 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 then post it. And yesterday was a failure because some of my audio drop-ins, they just didn't, they weren't working. So I do apologize for that. You know what? I want to get right into it now. I only have so much time here. Dude, again, like I was talking yesterday, can ESPN and like Fox Sports and all the all the media, can they just put more racism talk in their sports? Like, what are they doing? Like, as soon as I turn on ESPN today, because the Masters, the golf is around for the Masters this weekend, and I think it starts today, and instantly it's just talking about racism in golf, and it's like, okay, all right, is there racism in golf now? Is there racism? Because then people go, well, because it's always, it's like inner city kids can't play golf. Guess what? I'm a fucking middle-aged white guy in the suburbs right now, and I can't play golf. It's expensive. Like when I was in Ohio growing up, and I started playing golf probably when I was about 21 or so, like you could go golfing for like $18, and you might walk, without a cart or something like that, do 18 holes or something like on a Monday morning at a certain time. But like I'm in Chicago. And Chicagoland, if you want to golf, I'm telling you, I mean, some people might, obviously you could find it as low as maybe $25, but I feel like it's average $45 every time you want to go golfing, at least, and more. I'm talking like that's like the bottom. So if you're talking about if they're talking about like that's the racism in that, guess what? It's expensive. It's an expensive sport. It's the same thing with hockey. I'm surprised they don't talk about the racism in hockey as much. But if you talk to any hockey people, especially kids that were in like junior leagues and stuff and traveling teams, it's very expensive to get on the ice. It's very expensive for the equipment. It's very expensive to travel. Anytime you get into competitive sports like that, you got to travel. It gets very expensive. But of course, ESPN just beats them down your head, of just how racist everything is and stuff, and how racist golf was. First of all, I'm sure it was. Okay, I'm not saying it was never racist. Okay, and I'm sure I get it. At one time, I'm talking about today. Is today golf that racist? That's what I would like to know. Today, are we talking that? Because I don't think. What are we talking about here? It's just they just beat you over the head with it to where you don't even want to watch it anymore. To where you don't want to watch ESPN no more. You don't want to watch Fox Sports no more. If you're on the other side of the if you're the always, because they're always trying to stick. I feel like they're always trying to stick white people's face right in like the racism of the past, where they're like, you smell that? You smell that racism? You smell it? Get your face down in there. Get your nose down in there, white guy. Get it in there, white people. Get your nose in that racism from like 45 years ago or 25, 40 years ago when you were a little kid. Get in there. Get in there. You smell it? That's what your people did. It's like, I didn't do any of that. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you trying to put white guilt on me? First of all, I've never had white guilt because guess what? I treat every person like fucking the same asshole. Okay. So when you're a dickhead, you're a dickhead. All right. When you're good to me, I'm good to you. You know what I'm saying? That's how life is. I'm not going to go out of my way to be nicer to people where they go, oh, to me, that's more bullshit than anything. Like when a black person walks in the room, you got to treat them differently. A person of color walks in the room, you got to treat them differently. Yeah, dude, that lets me know that I know some people go, well, I'm just more racially conscious and I'm just trying to make people feel comfortable. Yeah, bullshit. You got that shit right on your fucking shoulder at all times. Just treat people how you treat, everybody. How about that? You treat everybody like assholes, treat them like assholes. You treat everybody, fairly, treat them fairly. Be a good fucking person. It's not hard. So I don't got that white guilt shit. But that's all they're doing. They're always trying to jam your face in the racism. Like, see that? See that? What you did? It's like, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. My family didn't do that. Like, my people didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. We've all been blue collar in the mud, living in the same neighborhoods. It's so funny how they're preaching to people that like white people that like me that grew up. It's like I grew up with fucking black people. What are you talking about? They're drinking the same water I'm drinking. I'm not talking about fountains. I always say that because like when LeBron James grew up in Akron, I always say, man, that dude drank the same water I drank growing up. But I don't mean it by water fountains. I get how that would sound until I just said that. But I never paid attention to it, that way. But what I'm saying is, I grew up with, we went to school together. We we played together every day. You know, Orlando Wimbush was my best friend for, you know, the first 10 years of my life or something like that, you know? It never was like, oh, you know, we're living. So when people are always preaching racism to people that have always been down for people with color or people of color and black people, to us, it's almost insulting where it's like, man, get the fuck out of here. And then they go, we're not talking to you. Yeah, well, I feel like you are kind of talking to me. I know you're saying that because somebody's putting you on notice, but you are talking to me because everything I turn on has that, you know, it's ridiculous. Just like I, you know, brought up on the last podcast that I had audio problems with, just like how the MLB had a problem with voting laws in the state of Georgia. So they ripped the MLB All-Star game that has probably 52% African-American black people population, that they could have made a lot of money in that town off the small businesses, off the black-owned businesses. And since they don't like the voting laws, they rip it out of there, and then they take it to Denver, Colorado, where you still need an ID to vote. They have the law IDs to vote in Denver. So you moved it from a place that you need, and it's also like 10% black. It's a population. And so good for you. You just, what did you guys really do? And again, as everybody on social media has been already commented, if you want to go to a baseball game and get your tickets at will call, guess what? You got to show an ID. Okay. Just like Delta Airline. If you want to get on a plane, you got to show an ID multiple times. How many people have flown on planes and you got to keep, as soon as you go through security where you take your belt off and you go through the thing with the arms up and stuff like that, you still keep your ID in your pocket. You don't put it away in your wallet or your purse or anything like that. You keep it in your pocket next to your ticket. So when you get up to the gate, you kind of show them that also is how the move is. I don't know if they've changed that, but for people like Delta and Coca-Cola to make and MLB to make comments about this, give me a break. Give me a break. And, you know, it's just the racism talk is just like, we're over it. We're over it. We get it. We get it. We get it. Don't be racist. Who is being that racist? Like, if anybody is even slightly racist, where it's even like a microaggression, and I even hate using that term, people are put on notice. Like, that's how bad it is. Where it's like where you can't even. So who is being racist currently? You know, and I've always said it on other podcasts, and I've always said it for years now. You can't criticize anybody no more without people saying that's racist. It's like, no, when you treat people like regular people and they're just all the same, I can criticize those people. But then when you always put skin color in front of it, then you're always claiming that it's racism. It's not racism. Sometimes just most of the time people are just criticizing the action or the behavior or the policies or the culture. That has nothing to do with racism. That just has another human commenting on another human. And like I said, they don't want it to be human to human because people can't, they don't want to do that. Because really at the end of the day, all it is human to human, but not when people identify with things. That's why everybody like groups up in LGB. That's why people grew up in you know, BLM and black and stuff like that. They come in numbers, right? So then they could lean on people and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you're a human, I'm a human, they're humans, whoever we're pointing at. And that's all it is. It's just human on human criticism. That's all it is. So then I turn on freaking, that was ESPN, literally today. I turned it on as soon as the thing is they're talking about the Masters being racist. And then there's a white lady on there. You know, there's instantly like a white lady on there, like, you know, 25-year-old white lady reporter using big words. And you know, she's preaching about, I like how these white people that they're like, it's all the other white people, but it's not me. And it's like, you're the one that seems like you're worried about race way more than my household. We don't even we don't worry about racism at all because we're not racist. But all these other people are always talking about race and shit. No reason I'm talking about race because I do a fucking podcast and it's ridiculous. It needs to quit. People are walking away from your product. I already walked away from ESPN for like 8 months, and then I came back to it. And instantly, they just doubled down on the same shit that I walked away for 8 months for. And I was trying to give them another chance. ESPN, sports places, people like me and others that are listening, other people out there in the world, they're trying to give you the benefit of the doubt to cut the shit, but you're not cutting the shit. All these daytime television, all these nighttime television, all these Hollywood and all these studios that make movies and television and content for the internet, cut the shit. We're walking away from you. It has nothing to do with racism. We just sick of hearing it because it's, you know, I know you're hunting for racism wherever it's at, and I'm sure it's out there. I'm not saying it's completely gone, but we know about it, okay? We know it's not cool. We're trying to give you the benefit of the doubt to watch your product, but the more you beat us down the throat, you know, it's like It's like when you get in a fight with like your girlfriend, like argument. When you get in a fight with like an argument with like your girlfriend or your wife or like ex-girlfriends or ex-boyfriends or ex-husbands or something like that, and they bring up a topic and that they're upset about, and that normally you could talk about that for like 15, 20 minutes, but they want to insist on talking about it for like 45 minutes to an hour and a half, and then by the end of the 45 minutes to an hour and a half, you're just like, I'm fucking done. I don't even care what the subject is anymore. We don't need to talk about this for 45 minutes to an hour and a half. That is where racism is at right now in the world, and all the racism and the phobia talk and all that stuff. We are done talking about it. We are done talking about it. It's like we've talked about it for so long. Let's just move forward, okay? And then every once in a while we can kind of look back on it and go, yeah, we're doing okay, or we can do better. Of course. But we're done talking about it. Honestly, and I know this sounds inappropriate, but nobody wants people of color, and especially black people, to do great and do better. And nobody wants less racism in the world more than white people and others that stand behind these beliefs, because we're sick of fucking hearing you talk about it. The people that talk about it. And I know you go, well, there's a lot of horrible stuff. We know about that horrible stuff, okay? We don't like it either, okay? We want it to be over. We just want to move forward, okay? But when you just keep holding it and walking down the street with it and go, look what all these other people did bad, and stick your nose in it, sniff it. You remember that 45 years back and 35 years ago back, what they did? People you didn't even know, and white people you have no affiliation with. Look what they did. It's like, what are we doing here? And I'm sorry, I got to give you an air beating on this for over 12 minutes or whatever I've been talking about it, but it's just enough. We want to move forward. We want people of color to do well. We want everybody to do well. To be honest with you, nobody likes poverty. Nobody likes crime. Nobody likes police brutality. Nobody likes legal like law enforcement and city officials and government officials to abuse their powers. Nobody likes that. Okay, nobody. Besides the people that are affiliated with that. And I've always been a blue collar person. Everybody in my family's made $30,000 plus a year, or not plus a year, $30,000 a year type of people. So when you're talking about this shit, you're not talking about me. I'm in the mud with you, okay? I'm a stand-up comic, okay? That is nobody knows about. Nobody knows about besides my listeners in the local comedy community, a portion of them here in Chicagoland. That's it. And most of those people, they don't F with me either, you know? I mean, most of them. I got some good friends, but it's a small group. So I'm in the mud with you, just like a lot of listeners are in the mud with people of color and people that are being oppressed, whatever that is now. It's whatever. But ESPN, cut it out. Sports in general, cut it out. Hollywood, the internet, for the most part, cut it out. We're over it. Like you're crying wolf, okay? Because a lot of things you're pointing at, it's just like, this is ridiculous. You're talking about Band-Aids and shit. That lady that teacher that was bringing up Band-Aids, how that's white supremacy or white privilege. It's like, we're done. Okay, you're pointing out Band-Aids. I get it. I get your point. But somebody else can they've already created other Band-Aids. Go out and buy them. Go out and buy them. Oh, they're this much more. Shut up, lady. Are we playing the game of like, this is way more? I could point to any product that's more costly than this. If it's more of a common thing, of course it's going to be less price. If it's an uncommon thing, like meaning like a colored Band-Aid where they go, okay, it's okay. Not a lot of people make these, so I'm going to charge a little bit more for it. Duh. But for it to go viral like that, it's ridiculous. So anyways, I turn on Fox Sports and instantly Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless. As soon as their show, I record their show every day. It's the only sports show I record is whatever that show is called. And as soon as I bring that up, then Shannon Sharp talks about how Justin Fields, the Ohio State quarterback, which is African-American, aka black, and how Richard Sherman, the ex-49ers, says that the 49ers are probably going to take Justin Fields. But one of the things holding back Justin Fields is what Richard Sherman's saying is because he's a black quarterback, and he still has that black quarterback stigma. Which, again, I know what the black quarterback stigma is. I'm a 45-year-old man. There was days where they would say that about black quarterbacks, where where they run too much, or they don't have the total game or whatever like that. And yeah, they did say that. I remember that. But the NFL also was different then. Like the NFL was just like more of a drop back passer and stay in the pocket type of quarterback. The NFL has changed now. And it has changed a lot. And I'm not just talking about like society. But listen to Shannon Sharp on here. Hopefully the audio works like how I want it to work here.
This is starting today. All right, we're going to get to all that, but we are 3 weeks from the draft, which means everyone is weighing in right now, including Richard Sherman. Let me explain. While initial reports were that the 49ers were eyeing Mac Jones with the 3rd pick, there were also reports that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan differed on which QB to take. Former Niner Richard Sherman said that he believes San Fran will draft Justin Fields. Sherman also said Fields is fighting against the black quarterback stereotype, saying, quote, they're pigeonholing Justin Fields. He is literally the most efficient, if not one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the draft. So Shannon, does he have a point here?
Yeah, Skip, unfortunately, the black quarterback element still seeps into when you hear them talk. And it's not, you have to know what to listen for.
Oh, you got to know what to listen for.
Because it's coded.
It's coded
Last
racism.
in, first out.
Last in, first out is racist.
Information fast enough.
Process. So that's where we're at now. They're doing coded racism. Like, and I get it. I know there's probably coded racism where like people are being sarcastic or something. Whatever the other examples are, I don't want to get into. I don't care. Okay. But now it's coded that. So I guess that's racism now. That if you say first in, first out. So if he's first in and first out, that means he's a hard worker. I don't know. I don't understand. And that also means like he's like a company man, and he also is down for he's bought in. So how is that racism? You know, but they constantly, and this is what they start their show off with. Just like when I turn on TV on ESPN, they're talking about the Masters, and the first thing I see is racism. You know, where it's like, why do they constantly, they're turning people off. Like, now that I'm saying this, I'm going upstairs and I'm not recording it anymore. Okay, I'm going to take off the recorder and whatever, and I'm just not going to watch it anymore. If it's on TV and whatever, like if there's a big event, like, because people have to go to, they don't have to go to that. There's the internet now you can go to and find other alternatives. But when you're talking like NCAA tournament, I like to turn on ESPN. If they're talking like NFL draft, I like to turn on ESPN and stuff like that. But now there's so much forcing you to go to other places that have sports online that do not talk about racism. They don't put your face in your nose and that racism pile and make you sniff it. Because first of all, like I said, there was that stigma about black quarterbacks, and yeah, it was is that racist? It was probably racist. Yeah, was it also? There's some truth to like the style of play with certain players. Yeah. First of all, is he trying to say the NFL is being racist? First of all, the NFL is 69% black right now, currently 69% black. And you don't ever hear anybody other colors of opposite of black people that say anything about it. 69% black is what the NFL is. And so that's what blows my mind when they bring up there's not enough black quarterbacks or coaches, where it's like, you guys are almost 70% of the league and nobody complains about that either. I get it. But what do you want? You want it to be 100%? Like, what is this? Because how is that fair to anybody? To where if that's where we're going to get it, if you're going, and I don't even like people counting, I don't even like doing percentages, but I looked it up because I'm just like, what is this? And first of all, so like I said, it used to be with the quarterback, but look at the best quarterbacks right now in the league. If they're trying to claim black quarterback racism, Patrick Mahomes, which is a black guy, he's in that category. He's got he's the best quarterback in the league. There's no argument on that. Tua that came out, he's not the best quarterback in the league, but he was thought to be the best quarterback. He was going to be a great quarterback down in Miami. And he was hurt. So let's give him a full offseason, and most likely that guy's going to be a great player. Look at Lamar Jackson, arguably one of the best players at that position in the league. Give me a break. So when you're, and also, like I said, the NFL has changed how they play. Now they want a running quarterback. Now you want a quarterback with an arm. Now you want a quarterback that can scramble and obviously has all the other quarterback skill sets. So the NFL game has changed. Like I said, before they wanted a guy that would just drop back as a quarterback and stay in the pocket and pass, like a Dan Marino and Elway. And although Elway, all those guys can run, clearly they can run if somebody's a 300-pound guy is chasing them. But it has changed a lot. It's not what Lamar Jackson does at all. I was thinking about it. Somebody like Randall Cunningham, it all came down to systems of like I said, it was drop back passer. They looked at it differently. The game has evolved. And but somebody like Randall Cunningham of the Philadelphia Eagles and Minnesota Vikings, that guy arguably could have been better. Like right now, Randall Cunningham could have been somebody like Patrick Mahomes, if not better. I mean, or he's definitely in the category right next to him. That guy was amazing. And it just, and he had a good career. That's how talented he was. Even then, he could have a good career and it would work. I remember guys like Cordell Stewart or whatever his name was for the Steelers. Slash. Dude, for a minute he worked. But it's different systems. Then they wanted a drop back passer, and now drop back passer isn't really what they want. They know these defenders are very fast, and you need somebody that can move with their legs and also gives them another weapon, another threat. And it's changed very quick. I remember when the Wildcat was just around, 10, 12 years ago is what, maybe or less, when the Wildcat, where the running back would snap the ball and just run it, how that was like people frowned on that. A lot of people that were traditional NFL and football people, they'd frown on that, where it's like, it's gadget stuff. It ain't going to last. And it's like, yeah, it probably didn't. But I bet stuff like that is what's changed the game a little bit, how people look at it. But anyways, sorry, guys. It just blows my mind. But, I also want to, because the Masters is going on right now, I would like to talk Tiger Woods. I don't know if you guys seen the reports that they're saying that the Tiger Woods accident and the vehicle accident that he had, a month or so back, that it was from excessive speed. The guy was going about 90 miles an hour, allegedly, is what they're saying. And look, we've all been there. I guess since he's Tiger Woods, they're going to shit on him harder. Yeah, that's what happens when you speed 90 miles an hour where you probably shouldn't be going that fast. It's there's a reason why there are speed limits, because the roads, they're not designed for that type of speed. And, and there might be residential, or there might be turns, or the road might be narrower. And that's how people get injured. So, the bottom line is don't speed, and Tiger has more egg on his face. But again, they're going to shame him more of that, like they shamed him when he was banging 16 chicks and cheating on his wife. I get it, but most men in that position, who knows what you would do? That guy was practically a billionaire at one time, and he had a bunch of hot puss and a bunch of ugly puss thrown it at him. And, he was a young guy, and he made some decisions. Everybody does that. Everybody makes good decisions. Everybody makes a few bad decisions. But if we were all in the spotlight like that, with all that money, I'd love to see how most people would act. Guys, thank you for listening. Sorry about the 22-minute rant on ESPN and sports racism and stuff. It just gets old, man. It just gets old to me. Like I know it has to get old to people that are listening to this too, where it's like, people like myself that have been allies for, I don't even like saying like people of color. I don't even like saying African American, because every fucking black person in America isn't from Africa at all, or like their relatives, but people like me and my family and my people that I've always messed with, they have always been allies of black people. They have always been allies of black people. And when you're constantly getting preached on it, and I get it, when you first see it, like over the, so many years, you go, yeah, they ain't talking to me. But when they just beat it down your throat, you start to feel like, no, they're talking to me too. And it's like, you got the wrong, you're turning people off. And it's all over the internet. It's all over the internet. And, it's a damn shame, because, you're turning allies in the long run probably against you, or that they just ain't going to fuck with your products anymore. It's just the way it is. And it's sad, because it doesn't need to be that way. It's just skin color. It's like talking about red hair and blonde hair. Like that even matters. Guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Thank you. Bustin' Balls Podcast on most platforms. I'm definitely on TikTok. I'm definitely a little bit on Facebook, Instagram, and a few other things. If you would share the podcast, greatly appreciate it. If you would do a review on iTunes, that helps me on rankings and stuff like that. And guys, thank you so much. Like I always say, every podcast, the numbers are going up, and I greatly appreciate it. And hope everything's well with you and your family. Hope you're grabbing ass, and hope you're making money and happy. Let's go get it, guys. Okay, keep that COVID off you, and let's get it. Bustin' Balls Podcast.